Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian lad, and recently I've watched Spider-Man Far From Home in 0.25x speed, and I have to say, this movie was filled with bunch of Easter eggs, references and callbacks to other MCU films and comic books. So here goes my list of things that I think you may have missed while watching Far From Home in regular speed. So let's begin. Number 1. While everyone was looking away at the supposed baby mountain goats, we get a shot for less than a second where MJ is clearly looking at Peter Parker and discovering his alter identity. In the next shot, you can clearly see she's still looking at Peter. This is really hard to notice without slowing down the playback. Number 2. When Peter arrives in Venice and goes to buy the Black Dahlia necklace for MJ, you can actually spot Quentin Beck in the background. Nobody actually noticed it until Jake Gyllenhaal himself posted about this Easter egg on Instagram. You certainly cannot see him clear enough without slowing down the speed. I made a separate video on this before, so I'd suggest you to watch that as well. Number 3. Gooderman, who works for Mysterio, also appeared in 2 other scenes in the background. Right after Peter gets the necklace for MJ, there's a very subtle focus on Gooderman walking behind them and keeping an eye. And again during the final battle in Tower Bridge, where Peter's friends were trying to escape, Gooderman was again standing at the back with nothing to worry about. His appearance as the bus driver was quite clear, but without slowing down the speed, it's really difficult to notice him second time around in the back. Number 4. Agent Maria Hill not being able to grasp the idea of the multiverse was another hint to show she isn't the real Maria Hill. In all previous films, she has been known as someone with a very high intellect and wisdom.
He's got increased metabolism and improved thermal homeostasis. Her thing is neuroelectric interfacing, telekinesis, mental manipulation. He's fast and she's weird.
So for her not able to perceive the idea of the multiverse was a nod to her not being real at all. Number 5. Reference to one of the most weirdest villains of Spider-Man. Inside the illusion, Spider-Man tries to throw a heavy punch at Mysterio, but he suddenly transforms himself in a shape of a wall. Even though it might come across very random, but it could be a nod to one of the most weirdest villains of Spider-Man, the Wall. Mysterio at that point could have transformed himself into anything, but the fact that he chose to be a wall really feels like a reference to the weird villain Wall. Number 6. All the number plates. Just after Peter and MJ kiss, there's a car with a number plate that reads TASM 143, a reference to the Amazing Spider-Man comic edition 143, which is the comic that Mary Jane and Peter kiss each other for the first time. And during the battle with the fire elemental, the license plate on Maria Hill's car reads ASM 28965. Amazing Spider-Man edition 28 was published in 1965 and featured the first appearance of Molten Man, aka the fire elemental. And again, when fake Nick Fury comes to pick up Spider-Man in Berlin, his car's number plate is MTU 83779. Marvel Team Up Comics edition 83 from July 1979, which featured a team up between no other than Spider-Man and Nick Fury. Almost every number plate shown in the movie represents a similar situation from the comics. Number 7. When we see the real Nick Fury apparently lounging on a beach in the post-credit scene, only to discover that it's just some kind of holographic projection and he's seemingly in space with more Skrulls. The real Easter egg here are not the Skrulls at all, but Fury's fake vacation spot. Fans of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may recognize this sequence as a nod to Project Tahiti. In the show's first season, beloved Agent Coulson, who was killed in the first Avengers film, is brought back from the dead using the blood of a dead Kree. Coulson then had fake memories programmed into his brain, leading him to believe that he never died at all, but spent a long time recovering from his wounds through an extended vacation on a tropical island of Tahiti. Number 8. Not only in Venice but even in Prague, we get a very brief shot at yet another piece of art of Tony Stark, implying that almost every city in every country is paying their tribute to the late Tony Stark for saving the universe, sacrificing his own life. Number 9. Happy Hogan makes a similar hand gesture to Spider-Man while unveiling the workstation inside the private jet, and again before turning on the music. Being able to see how Peter is building his new suit was reminiscent of his former boss Tony Stark. He tells Peter to take care of the suit while he takes care of the music. That's when you can see him making the same hand gesture as Spider-Man for a very brief moment. Number 10. This was the worst Spider-Man movie of all time. Oh, totally irrelevant. Moving on. Now coming to the last point, this has nothing to do with watching Far From Home in slow motion, but I'd like to talk about a little bit about Spider-Man 3. Remember how Spider-Man was swinging around the old Avengers Tower? Well, in a deleted post-credit scene, this building was shown to be one of Norman Osborn's. Now all the villains from the Sinister Six already exist in the MCU. We have Scorpion, Shocker, Vulture, Venom, Mysterio, and Morbius. The fact that Marvel has already established the entire Sinister Six, they could easily use Norman Osborn as the leader of this group, so he wouldn't essentially need to become Green Goblin to fight against Spider-Man. Also, Marvel and Sony finally seem to be on good terms after several months of negotiations, which makes it much more easier for both these companies to use Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 3. And the news that broke Norman Osborn will feature in Spider-Man 3 has came from the infamous Twitter user Roger Wardell. Whatever news he has come up with so far has a 100% rate of being accurate, and Spider-Man is set to remain in the MCU for 2 more films, one solo and another team-up film. So Spider-Man 3 could introduce us to Norman Osborn, and the next movie could be about Sinister Six, where Norman Osborn simply controls and leads them against Spidey. And I avoided a lot of other details, for example the clever face for Easter egg, because by now these are known to almost everyone. My sole focus while making this video was to find new details from the movie and emphasize on those only, as well as avoiding CGI mistakes because I don't want to bring the film down. And that's it for today. Grab the subscribe button if you're new, and soon we're gonna reach 50,000 subscribers, so I plan on doing a Black Widow tickets giveaway. I cannot thank you enough for all the love and attention you guys have given to my content. Please keep supporting me, and I promise to bring quality content at least twice every week. I'll see you lads in the next one.